Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an amazing, wonderful, joyous merging of two incredible beasts, if you will. Just to give you a treat, as you can see, we have got a fitting tribute tonight, as it would have been the amazing late David Rocastle's birthday. We're celebrating with our very own Magnificent Seven. It's like a weird version of Celebrity Squares, if you will, but we're just going to go with it. We hope you're all very well. Let's face it, we've had another lovely week. London's still red. We're still chopping the tree, and we're going to keep smiling and be happy, because why the hell not? As you can see, I've got 6 wonderful people alongside me. It will take me too long to introduce them all, so we're just going to crack on. I'm going to crack on with, well, a wonderful North London derby win in a minute. After that, Super G is going to take over and talk about the women's disappointing result and the big game on Sunday. And then Mr. El Smuggler himself is going to talk through the weekend's main events, the big game at lunchtime, and then what can Wolves do to help us out. So, right, let's crack on then. The game that we all hate the most. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had to keep pausing the telly near the end, but it's just horrendous. I mean, they're going to kill me one day. But, you know, it's the game we all love and hate at the same time. Put that lot back in their box. Spurs away. And what a wonderful win, everybody. I mean, it's like we all knew and hoped we would turn up. And you could argue it was an interesting performance, to say the least. But a win's a win, isn't it, G? And it's just lovely to give them a beating.
Absolutely. It was a bit of a weird and wacky game, I thought. Obviously, we went with an unchanged team there, which I thought was the best option that we had. I think we all basically had said it last week as well, that we wanted to go with this. It was pretty much our strongest 11 at the moment, we'd say. So obviously good to see Partey back in there as well, sort of getting more minutes on the board. But yeah, what a random game. Obviously, I hate this game more than anything. No matter what, form doesn't really come into it, I don't think. And obviously being away as well, haven't got the crowd on our side. But yeah, we silenced them pretty sharpish. But then, you know, things got a bit ropey towards the end, and it was pretty horrific to watch, wasn't it? I would have loved to have had a heart monitor on in that second half. And,
at one point I checked mine, it was like 116 or something ridiculous. I mean, it's got to try in the first half to begin with, Bez, you know. I mean, all of a sudden, Thomas Partey's come out the wilderness. Now he started 2 games in a row. He looked very good. And I have to say, Thursday night, I was singing Martin Odegaard's praises. Basically saying I make sweet love to him, to be honest. And he probably had one of his worst games, I have to say. He just sitting there and you look on it, bless him. But we won't go with the negatives. I mean, this, 3-0 half-time, Bez. Can you believe your luck?
Look, there's no party without Thomas Partey. I'll say it again. I'll say it now. Finally, I can say it, no? It was simply magnificent to see him simply control the game the way he does. And the 3-0 halftime against Tottenham in that place, I was a happy lad.
Absolutely superb, wasn't it, Jonesy? I mean, what a start. I mean, we started off quite well. It was a bit tit for tat, and, Tottenham had a chance or two. We thought, we'll be all right. And obviously, we get a corner, another set piece. They keep always showing this graphic on Sky, and I was going, oh, here we go. Let's put them off on us. But we keep delivering. I mean, Højbjerg, what a header that was. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? First half was electric, to be fair. We were doing well, don't we? But there was always something at half time. I was happy, don't get me wrong, 3-0, but it's them lot, innit? You just always have in the back of your mind, it's them lot, it's the North London derby. But what I loved the most, more than anything, was the shithousery. Their fans were giving it to Declan Rice at the corner, even to Saka as well. You let your country down, all that shit they can't get over, even though Kane missed 2 penalties at the last one. Let's remember that. But yeah, and then they were just giving it back, like, what you saying? It's just brilliant. Arsenal were at full pelt, the first half. But I'm sure we'll talk about the second half in a minute. But yeah, I was happy.
But I can't believe the Spurs. I mean, I can't believe how thick they are. I mean, why would you keep retweeting and putting all these things out about scoring goals? Again, no. Well, I just don't understand. Bless him. I'd have to say Saka as well. I think that's the best game he's had in quite a while. He's not been off it, but of his high standards, I thought he was brilliant. He had that Ben Davies on toast. I mean, that second goal, I'm sure we'll talk about Kai Havertz at a minute mark, because again, he was absolutely superb.
Outstanding.
That pass he did and the control from Saka. I mean, that touch. And then you knew what he was going to do. I mean, Ben Davies must have known he's rubbish, so he could do nothing about it. And it was a super, super finish.
Absolutely, Brooksy. Couldn't have put it better myself. Just as I said, brilliant break. Havertz, everything had to be perfect about that. The pass from Rice to Havertz had to be perfect. That ball from Havertz to Saka had to be perfect. Saka's touch had to be perfect. And then the finish had to be perfect. If any of those 4 moves aren't perfect, we don't score a goal there. It's absolutely perfection, absolute brilliant goal to give us that 2-goal cushion that we probably needed. And then obviously Havertz scores again from the set piece not long afterwards. So yeah,
Obviously we had a scare before the second goal. Obviously when Van der Ven's goals sadly ruled out. Gary Neville was convinced that Gabriel's arse was playing him on. And we'll talk about Gary Neville, I'm sure, because he's just such an arsehole. He was so desperate for Spurs to get back into the game. But and then George, obviously another corner, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz bullet header, Ben White taking Vicario's gloves off and trying to. It was all going on.
Yeah, I hate to say that, Michael, I say again. I'm kind of getting used to us corners, Brooksy. I remember going football with Jonesy and saying we never score from corners. That don't happen.
No, it's crazy. It is.
I like Declan Rice on corners, like what was said as well. Like the Tottenham fans giving it as well. That makes it feel a little bit sweeter. Like I'm still. Like when I go out, I have to make sure Harry Kane's penalty don't hit me on the head. Like, so, I just like echoing what Jonesy said. When it was 3-0 at half time, I messaged my brother and said, "We need a fourth." He was like, "Well, we're 3-0 up." I went, "No, we need a fourth."
Yeah.
It was good though. It was good.
And that's the thing, though, isn't it, Liam? Obviously. 3-0 up. We come out and we look, threatening. I thought, go on, get another one. And I don't know, we just lack the killer edge. I don't think that's the right thing. But you just think, all right, we're not going to score another one. But you didn't see them scoring. I know their fans are embarrassing me going, oh, we should have had this. Oh, we were the better side. But they created nothing. And let's be right, if we hadn't made 2 silly errors, I don't think they would have scored a goal.
Yeah, I think we can see. I think we conceded goals when we was at our most comfortable. If I'm being totally honest, start the second half, I was expecting them to come out and throw the kitchen sink at us, which is my favourite phrase at the moment, but they didn't. And we had chances to obviously go 4-0 up. Like Saka had that chance, which was superbly saved, and you thought it was really comfortable. But do you know what? I was the same as Jonesy and George. 3-0. I was on Ryan's watch long. I was so nervous. Honestly,
it's an awful game. Just not enjoyable.
It was just because I knew if they got 1 goal back, it will get the crowd going. Yep. And if the second goes in, then it's squeaky arse time. And it was squeaky arse time. And we went through every single emotion in that game possible. But we deserve to win. And the reason we deserve to win over them is that we can play football in totally different ways. They can't play football in totally different ways. They can't even defend set pieces. You sit there listening to them cry all week. You've conceded another goal today, lads, from a set piece. You don't learn. And they were lucky. They were lucky that we give them 2 goals basically. Because to be honest, we could have easily won that game 4 or 5-0 if we really wanted to at one point.
I suppose the only disappointment is, goal difference. Obviously, you could play a big, thing towards the end of the season. It's a bit annoying that we're letting a couple of goals. But what I will say, if any of us had the chance to kick a Spurs player up the arse, like Declan Rice did, you'd take it, wouldn't you? The most embarrassing thing about that penalty, I would say, was bloody Michael Oliver standing right at it and going, nah, in the foul. Even I was like, oh. And Sarah was like, oh, no, he hasn't touched him. And then he was like, blatantly just kicked him up the arse. So like, yeah. Gary Neville couldn't contain himself.
No. He was begging.
Hang on.
He was begging for another Spurs goal.
Oh, he's just
you can feel it. You can feel it.
Thank God they invented that sky whatever pause button. That was a godsend. I took my watch off. I turned my phone off for the last 6 minutes. I said, I can't cope. I was walking around the house trying to do bits of kitchen housework. Sarah's like, what are you doing? We'll just watch it. But then Sarah's going, oh, they're going to score. They're going to score. I said, I don't need it. I just can't cope.
He was like that. That's what he was like. He passed that.
Yeah, it was. It's just too much, and this season is just going to kill us all. You know, I mean, that's the good thing about Thomas Partey, wasn't it?
He's frozen again.
Oh,
I think we might have lost him.
Does he?
Yeah, but
does he
that's
mention-
Thursday as well.
I reckon he's got a Tottenham next door neighbour. Cut his wires.
Have a cut in the wires.
I have a
Take it
doubt.
away. Take it away.
Oh, he's
That'll
totally
carry.
frozen.
Yeah. I think he was just trying to say how good Thomas Partey was again there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that was the angle he was going for. It. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, no, my internet's gone a bit rubbish. I'm getting too overexcited.
Yeah, look, I'm Thomas Partey's. I'm not his biggest fan. I've been quoted on many shows to say I can't stand it, but when he plays, you know, and that's what I want from him, you know. And if we got that for the whole season, then you know we could have been well clear. We could have had this wrapped up by now, but it's just the little bits he needs to sort out in his game, just the fitness basically for me. Other than that, he's the perfect midfielder for us if he was fit for a whole season.
It's so
There wouldn't be a title race, would there?
No.
There wouldn't be a title race right now. If Partey and Timber were fit for the whole season, we would be champions probably about 2 games ago.
Yeah. Agree.
Not to mention we get that 25-goal a season striker.
Things look good.
We're going to piss it, mate. We're winning it all next year. You heard it here first. John Brooks exclusive. 5 trophies, including the Community Shield. If we get in it, of course. But yeah.
Sounds
We'll
good.
cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
So obviously that win obviously took us top, or kept us top, I might add. Obviously a nice cushion. And then we hope Nottingham Forest might do us a little favour. But apparently a little true rumour is that if Chris Wood was the shooter for JFK, JFK still be alive. My God, how many chances did he miss? Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
You can't rely on other teams. You just can't
No.
do it.
That's the thing,
We
Jay,
can't be putting our faith in other teams to help us along. We've just got
We
to.
have to, G. We haven't got any choice now.
Yeah.
No choice.
But
Especially with Chris Wood up front.
yeah, like come on. They were
Yeah,
fun.
don't-
I was there going last week saying, yeah, well, they've got something to fight for. I was like, do they?
That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. That's giving me hope. Man City are giving away a lot of chances.
Can I just say the ESPN FC, I think I uncovered a little old tweet for Chris Woods. I think he's a little City fan in disguise from what I see.
Mhm.
I feel that there's something there, like a mystery. Like you can see him, like when he misses chances, like, oh, he didn't react at all. He's like, oh, it's nothing. I just missed a few chances. That's it. Nothing by me. Move on, move on. I think, man, you're the main striker of this team with basically hanging by a thread. What are you doing, son?
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. We just got to keep winning our games and see what happens.
That's it.
And
Win
they
our
were
3
still
games
top.
and see where it
Yeah.
leaves us.
Absolutely. Anyone else got any other comments about beating Spurs? Or should we move on to G? We're down.
We're down.
They got some very
I have got one thing. I have got one
Get it all
thing.
out.
You know me. I do like to get in a few skins, shall we say, at times.
Yeah, you're a bit of a fisherman, Liam. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Only sometimes, mate. Only sometimes. I found this today. I found this, and it just reminds me of someone. If we get it up.
I could listen to that for ages.
Good content. Good content.
And don't worry, I've even got the White Hart Lane version for later on.
Brilliant.
Liam, is that the after 10 o'clock one, right?
No, well, maybe 9 o'clock. Maybe 9 o'clock.
For the watershed.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that.
No worries.
Yeah, so we ready to move on to the women's game quite briefly then?
Yep.
Sweet. Well, obviously Sunday, I think it was 12:30 kickoff. Away to Everton. One of those games where we probably should have done a lot better than we did. But what we did, we went with the same starting 11 as the men did, which is for, I know we were all saying last week as well, certain players that we've all wanted to be in, like Russo and Blacksenius at the same time. Obviously having Leah at the back, Steph Catley was stepping in for Lotta Weaver-Moy again, I think due to a slight injury. But again, Jonesy, what did you make of the starting 11 being the same for the first time as well?
It was good to see, because I've been one for calling it for Blacksenius and Russo to start together. But for me, it's just a little bit too late. Do you know what I mean? It's like we should have had this 3-4 months ago, when we could have possibly still been in, the FA Cup and the Women's FA Cup and then also the league title. But it was good to see players get a run out. I know Williamson, she went off, didn't she? At half time as well.
Yeah.
So I hope it's just a return to form, to fitness, that we're hoping there's no injury there. But I don't know, G. I watched the first bit up until the men's game, and it was just very like pre-season on the beach already football. Obviously, Arsenal can't do any better than they can do at the moment in league position. But yeah, it was just a dire game. But as a fan, you want them to finish strong, and we should be beating Everton. No disrespect to Everton, they've been pretty poor all season, stuck around mid-table. But yeah, it was just, I hate to use the word boring, but it was like, and that's no like obviously disrespected, but it felt like a pre-season game.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that as well, because I was going to bring up the fact that we've just gone from playing at the Emirates, obviously a huge stadium, 42,000. And then you're going away to a stadium. I don't even know what the capacity is. Minimum probably 2,000, if that.
Yeah.
The fact that you can then, there's no stands. Everyone's just stood around the pitch. Is that kind of place. Do you think that plays an impact into how they're now sort of adjusting? Because obviously before they were used to playing in smaller pitches, well, not smaller pitches, but smaller grounds, smaller crowds, to then go into these huge games, to go back into something small like that again. Do you think that, not an excuse, but do you think that sort of plays its part and there's sort of a bit unsteady sometimes when we go back to these types of venues?
I think it kind of does, because it's like you're playing, like you say, in front of 60,000 or 44, what was in there the other week, and then you go to like, I just don't want to be disrespectful, you go to like a car park.
Yeah.
It does, what it was. It must be weird for them because they've got to adjust. Because let's face it, when if you're a player and you go to the Bernabeu, you're going to be up for a game. Then if you go to Wrexham away, it's a bit like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But I think
Reynolds building them a new 55,000 seater stadium.
Yeah, their stadium's going to be quite a big thing. But I know, I just can't wait for it to be in the bigger stadiums all the time. And that might make a big difference to their performance every match day, because you've got to think it affects them. You've got to.
Yeah. And Liam, I know
why
you're
did
watching...
Everton not allow them play at their ground, Goodison Park? Sorry, why are they not allowed to play there? Is there a reason?
Again, I don't know the capacity, but they had this. They also decided to cancel any tickets because obviously the away fans normally fill most of that stadium. You don't really see Everton fans maybe in one corner, and they decided to cancel any tickets that were purchased outside of a Liverpool or Everton postcode.
Wow.
Yeah.
In order to stop as many Arsenal fans turning up to the game, which I get from a home point of view, that you obviously want, it's a home fixture, so you want your fans the chance to be there, but also that quite obviously those fans aren't turning up for whatever reason.
Financially, that makes no sense.
No.
Yeah. You see, surely it'd be better just to have the place as busy as possible, because you're still making a little bit of revenue.
I forgot
Yes,
there.
of course, they're away fans, but they're going to be loud. I mean, I don't know, obviously, about you guys, but I really struggled to concentrate and want to watch it because all you could hear was the Everton goalkeeper basically screaming every 2 seconds, and it was really doing my head in. And I thought, if you're watching a women's, you're tuning in, 'cause obviously it was on BBC Two, I think it was.
Yeah.
But if you're tuning in for the first time and seeing that kind of, I don't want to be disrespectful to it, but it was hard for me to watch it, and I obviously love it. But Liam, do you think it has an impact on our team at the moment? Maybe we're not as consistent as we could be because we're used to all these bigger crowds, then down to this type of venue.
No, I don't think it should have an impact on our performance. I think Everton are Everton, isn't they? They're a funny old club anyway at the best of times. So nothing ever surprises me about Everton Football Club when it comes down to it. If I'm being frankly honest, this is a club that battles relegation. It's point deductions. They're not run right from top to bottom, are they? So it doesn't make sense why you'd want an empty ground and why you wouldn't want to bring revenue in, but that's their prerogative, isn't it? But it shouldn't affect our performance. I think that we're pretty much on the beach now, shall I say, as such. I think we know we know we're out of the title race. I think we went and won the Continental Cup. And I just think that they're pretty much thinking of the summer now, if I'm being totally honest. I thought they'd win I thought they'd win last Sunday, but I thought it'd be a tight game because I didn't see us back. I don't ever see us now battering teams, so I thought it'd only be. I said 2-0. I'm pretty shocked that we drew the game, if I'm being totally honest. But Jonas needs to iron all this out by the start of next season because if he doesn't iron out these kind of results next season, he's under a lot of pressure. We've lost at West Ham, we've lost at Spurs, we've drawn against Everton away. It's not acceptable and it's not good enough. It's not been good enough over the whole season. And he's got to get them players fit. He's got to get them ready, and they've got to compete at the top end of the table for the whole season next year and try and bring the title home. Because I think it was a very much like we're going on our summer jollies kind of performance. And I just think that he needs to kind of get the ship in order next season and deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bez, what did you make of? Did you get to watch the game, and what did you sort of make of the performance? Probably in the first half, because I think we all just watched the first half.
Unfortunately, there was a game live, but I watched the 16-minute snip on YouTube. From what I saw, critically, I echo all of you, especially Liam. But personally, myself, I do feel like Jonas' tactics are just, again, I'll say naive, because from us in the game, he literally puts his finger to say, okay, I'll pick you and you and you. But as I see in the comments, it's like too little too late. Like Momaso as well, we just literally were wasteful, yes. But at the same time, I'm sorry, can I just please, I don't sound I'm going to use any bad words tonight, but why is he so, like, I don't know, vague to say, like, okay, now he brings Alessio Russo and Blackstenius together. He sees mid-season doing okay, fine that. And I see he tries to tinker a bit of the team the wrong way. I feel like, man, you can't be doing this, surely. I mean, you can rotate, yes, but why rotating now near the end of the season? And as Liam's saying, for me as well, for like the last day of school, the sports day. But it felt like sports day when I watched the highlights. I was like, this is not a normal ladies' football game I'm watching. Even the highlights alone from what I saw, 16 minutes showed me enough that clearly the man just gave up. It'd be like, won the Continental Cup, 1-1. The league's gone. Let me just experiment. Let me just be a bit silly. But I feel like, man, I know your mistakes now. Surely, you know where to attack. Your team knows what to defend. It's a decent squad, And one critique I have, and don't get me wrong, maybe I'm wrong, and people can have their way to say things. I do notice, well, for me, Katie McCabe is not a good left back. I love her more in midfield, like more forward than left back, because I think the team kind of doesn't see that. She's more important up front, and she's more like, defending for me. And then her game just goes out the window, and then we suffer when we have to counter attack, and then we just like hit a wall. That's what I feel like from us today as well. From Sunday, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Frustrating at best.
Yeah. And George, coming to you, obviously you're a follower of the Arsenal women. What did you make of that performance the other day? And do you think it's a an opportunity that we've dropped as well. Because actually, if we had won that game and collected the 3 points, we would now be level above. We could then be above Chelsea if we finished our. If we did happen to beat City at the weekend, we could have finished quite a lot stronger. But do you think that was again something that they had maybe thought of as it's already gone without thinking Chelsea were going to drop points again, and maybe they could be regretting that now?
To be honest, I don't know where to start. You're all a lot diplomatic more than I was going to be. Like, I'll be honest, I think our inconsistency is absolutely unforgivable. The way that I watched or listened to most of the game, and it was just, I'll just say it was boring. But there's just no pace. I agree. I think they think they're not going to finish, but they're not in the title race. They know that. They think they're going to finish third. We've won the cup. That's a good season for them, which I don't really think it is. But at least we've won one more thing than Chelsea have this season. So I have to get that in. I do have to disagree with Bez though about Katie McCabe. I think she's better at left back than towards the front. I don't see a place for her up front. But I honestly, G, I can't say apart from Lotta and a couple of others, that have been consistent this season. Like we look at the games that we should have won. Like Liam said, those games, and even like Liverpool. I know it was at the start of the season, and we had no pre-season. But if you're winning, you want to win titles. You've got to be winning those games. But the thing that frustrates me, I bet they don't beat City on Sunday. And that is what will frustrate me. It's just the inconsistencies. Like with Yona, I do think it's like he thinks he's doing like the cut draw. Like he just puts his hand into it and thinks, I'll pick that one. There's no plan B. After the Tottenham game, I had to calm down because I walked into a wall 3 times, pacing up and down. But Brooksy thought he was bad. I think I come out with 2 black eyes towards the end of it. But I watched back the Everton game, and I was even more annoyed because I get what people are saying about the pitches and all that, and it wasn't great. But we should. All the other teams have to play on them. Like I know, like Chelsea and Man City. So I don't know I think there's a lot of questions left unanswered. Like I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But I think next season is like there's no more excuses for me because I don't want Arsenal to turn into a cup team.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a question here just saying, George, what would you change? So I'm guessing that's maybe about players or manager in the women's team.
Okay. Well, if someone wants to give me his wages, I'll start by that. I think the big problem is the one that worries me is Miedema.
Yeah.
I cannot understand, apart from that she's leaving, why she didn't feature at all on Sunday. Right, I hope she's not leaving, but we'll wait and see with that. What would I change? I think they need to have a bit more energy in midfield because unless your name's Kim Little, I don't think the rest have much better. Like Palova, I think she's been decent, but it's like that number 10 role that I just don't think we have anyone that can link the play up as well. Like they seem really slow. It's not a fast-paced game. When Yona says, "Oh, if one thing's not working, change it." It's not hard. Like the low block, we struggle with. Like for Sunday, if we're talking about that, we want to win, but I don't think there's. It's one of those weird situations. I would like to see Miedema play, but whether she does or not, I don't know. But in the summer to change, I think we need a centre half. I think we need a left back, and hopefully they can work together in the summer and start start really well with the season. I'll just put it out there. I don't trust the owners to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And yeah, I think we were just in the pitches. I think we were sort of focusing more on not the pitch itself, but more the surroundings. Because obviously we're the ones that are playing at the bigger capacities more consistently than like City, for example. They're not really getting at the Etihad too much. So that was more our focus just on that bit. But just going into obviously City this weekend, we don't have much of a good record there, unfortunately. But now, as George said, would be a very good opportunity to sort of put things right. I know it doesn't really do a lot in terms of title race anymore, but Liam, do you think it's an opportunity to get in there and obviously beat a team that are potentially just going to win this title?
I don't really see them going there and doing anything on Sunday. If I'm being totally honest, I think Man City will want it 1,000 times more because what it will mean to them is they're in a crest of a wave, isn't they? And it's the business end of the season. And there's nothing after that performance last week that tells me that we're going to go to Man City and win. So I don't think we will win Sunday, if I'm being totally honest. I think Man City will beat us because they need to beat us. I think probably 2-1, something like that, 2-0. I don't ever like predicting that we're going to lose, but I think we will lose Sunday. But it could be worse, couldn't it? Like it could be that obviously Emma Hayes is going to win the title. So if Man City do win Sunday, then we got the comfort that it's probably the end of any hope of Chelsea getting all that title. We're basically Emma Hayes' last cling on hope at the moment, which is quite ironic, really, isn't it? After the last 2 months, but yeah, for me. They win the title, and I think they will win, and they totally deserve to win the title this year. They've been the best team, in my opinion, the most consistent team, and well done to them. Just a little bit disappointed that Chelsea have not won the league and we've not capitalised ourselves for it, really, because we certainly had the team. I just think that there was a lot of injuries at the start of the season, and yet, as I said before, you can't hide behind it next year, and hopefully there'll be a lot of questions answered in the summer around people like Viv. I believe the left wing position needs to be looked at. I think that's definitely a position, maybe another centre back as well. I think we need to come through the door, and obviously the goalkeeping situation as well. So for me, they're the 3 positions next year that I'd be looking at to strengthen.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to sort of wrap it up on that, Jonesy, anything different for Sunday, or are you sort of expecting maybe a close game, but just not getting there in the end?
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with Liam. I don't see Arsenal. City are going to win the title if they win, aren't they? So they're going to be well up for it. Like we said earlier, we're on the beach. I think keep it respectful though. If they win 1-0, that's it. Take your title, piss off. Then we can crack on with the rest. You know what I mean? Yeah, just I don't think we'll do anything. I don't think any Arsenal fans. There's all this talk that we're going to deliberately throw the game and stuff like that, but no, City have been the best team, to be fair, over the course of the season. They've done really well, and it's just great to see that bulldog chewing a wasp's face is brilliant. Inject that in my veins. I'm going to post that out. I'm going to put it on my wall. I love it. It's going in my toilet.
They caught her an absolute beauty when Liverpool scored. I think it was the 92nd minute. Obviously, it was a great header, and then they did that. Slowly went to the celebration, but immediately clicked over to Emma Hayes, and she just threw herself back in the chair and was like, "Oh, fucking!" You could literally say, "It's fucking hell."
Yeah, it's brilliant.
But and even better though, not only have they obviously crumbled, but a month ago they were on for a quadruple.
Yeah, exactly.
It just goes to show how quickly things can all fall apart when you get too arrogant and too used to winning trophies, as Emma Hayes likes to say in her own words. But there's what do you think of Chelsea's sort of fall? Do you think it's, again, maybe like Liverpool and the men's, they've sort of announced this thing, major changes happening, and their focus has maybe come away from on the pitch and crumbled?
Yeah, you could say that, but at the same time, seeing Emma Hayes suffering like this is actually quite satisfying, because simply the way she made herself look after that Eunice incident, shall we call it, was completely childish and foolish. But for me personally, as a grown adult, surely you should take accountability for your own actions, and also don't make yourself look the victim, because she clearly brought this in herself, you know. But surely we have the last laugh, hopefully, and let's give her a nice, perfect send off, and she can have all the nightmares she wants, go to America, do her thing, and hopefully she has no success there as well. I mean, as much as I love the ladies American team, as much as the English ladies team as well, but Simply V, I just want to fail wherever she goes, to be honest with you, because Simply V, I did give a chance to like her, but that incident with Jonas, I'm sorry, but I was just completely foolish, beyond childish as well, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Very tough.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see on the international stage next season going forward how, especially if we get to come up against them. Obviously, we won't too much until the World Cup comes around. But for us to sort of go up against her internationally would be pretty fun as well, I think. One for the future. But yeah, just really quickly, I'm just going to go around to everyone and just sort of get a player of the season so far. Obviously, there are 2 games to go, so we'll revisit that at the end of the season as well, and probably look into more sort of awards for players. But yeah, I'll come to you first, Mark. Sorry, I didn't know if you watched much of the women's game at all.
Not as much as probably I should do, but I'm going to go with a very biased opinion here and go with Katie McCabe, being the only Irish person here. Yeah, it wouldn't be right if I didn't give her a mention, so I'll have to go with Katie McCabe.
Nice. And Brooksy, what do you reckon?
I was hoping you wouldn't come with me.
I've got to ask everyone this one. It's an easier one.
Because she's a Maidstone girl, I say Russo.
Nice. Pretty good signing, to be fair, for free in the
right.
end.
She just needs to run a
got
game.
good return. George, what about you?
I was going to say Lena Hurtig. I've not put a foot wrong, but no.
She's disappeared in thin air.
I'm not going to lie, that means nothing to me.
It's about as much as Thomas Parker, George, I think, has she?
I know what that means.
So, no, on a serious note, if it is no one else apart from Lotta, to be fair, I think she's stepped up when we've needed her, really. And just quickly, I do want to say I think it's happened to 2 of the nicest people collapsing a season, Emma Hayes and Jurgen Klopp. So I'm quite happy with it.
Definitely. And Bez?
Totally has to be a lesser Roos for me. The way she's come in, made that position hers, all around, she deserves it.
Yeah, nice. Jonesy?
I'm going to go Zinsberger. No, I'm not. I'm going to go. You know, I'm going to go. I'm going to go Kimmy Little, because every time she's been on that pitch, she has just been a leader. To be fair.
Nice. Yeah, Liam?
It's between Kim and Lottie. I'm going to go Lottie because I just think that she's progressed into a really good player over the last 18 months. And I expect it from Kim Little each week now, to be honest. I think she's been absolutely sensational. But I just think that, I think Lottie deserves it. And I think it'll mean more to her at her point of her career and give her additional added confidence moving forwards. So I would like her to get it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kim got it either.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say Lotta as well. Just for the way that she's basically turned into a real, stapled her name in the back 4 out of nowhere, really. Never a first choice last season. Never in the England squad, really. Also, when we watched her, I think we could all agree that we were kind of worried every time she would dive in and get caught out quite a lot. But her change in her this season has been phenomenal. So, and obviously she's a gooner through and through. So definitely for her. Ryan is saying Palova. Good shout, to be fair. She's come into it as well in the sort of starting 11 quite consistently now. And a little magician. But and Zoom in UK also says Kimmy Little. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the side of the girls for now. Obviously, we'll look to next week and revisit the City game before the end of season clash as well. So yeah, that's it. And we'll hand you over to Liam for the last bit.
Yep. So obviously we got a big weekend coming up of football. Obviously the title race goes into week 36. And obviously there's some really two big games to obviously look ahead to. So Arsenal versus Bournemouth is a 12:30 kickoff at the Emirates on a Saturday. Just going back to obviously Arsenal-Bournemouth last year, for everyone who thinks that this could be an easy rollover. We was 2-0 down in the first 60 minutes. And we had to rely on a 97th minute Reece Nelson winner to save the day, which, if we're going to be frankly honest, was probably one of the most amazing moments that the Emirates has kind of witnessed over the last 10 years. In terms of how the scenes happened after that game. But this is a massive game for us in terms of it is an early kickoff. We do roll out first once again, which obviously gives us an opportunity to dictate the pace, but also between now and the end of the season, we can't afford to drop absolute not any point. And I think, as we spoke about earlier on, even though we don't like relying on others, at the moment we are in that situation where we are relying on a result elsewhere. Obviously, my hope was before today, if I'm going to be totally honest, and I wanted to get your guys' views on this. I was kind of hoping that Tottenham might kind of hold themselves in the race for a little bit for the top four, so they could run down to the Man City game and have a reason to play for. Now, obviously, they've been abysmal tonight by all accounts and losing 2-0. So that don't fulfil us with absolute any confidence now moving forwards that their heads are not going to drop. And I think Aston Villa now will potentially 90% sure, if not more, that they're going to sadly, well, it's not sadly, it's greatly, but obviously they're going to take that full spot quite quickly. So I'm going to look ahead to the Bournemouth game first, and then we're going to look ahead to the fixtures of both Arsenal and Man City, and potentially look at where we can pray for a miracle as such. So going to go over to you first, Brooksy, in terms of the game on Saturday. What's your kind of thought process around the team? I'm guessing you're going to be looking around the same team that's obviously won the last two games. Do you expect Timber to come back on the bench?
I don't know. Obviously, in a romantic world, we all love to see him there. But what you don't want is for him to be rushed onto the pitch for some reason. He either gets injured again, or he makes a mistake which leads to, a goal or something. I mean, I would probably not play him at all this season, if I'm being honest. And I'd love to see him, but I think it's so precarious, if you will. I wouldn't want to put the unnecessary pressure on him because, the players that are there have been doing it all season. It'd be great if he can come in and do well, but, is it worth the risk or not? I would expect an unchanged side against Bournemouth. I mean, after winning the last couple of games, I can't see him dropping anybody unless there's any fitness issues. I mean, you could argue Martinelli could swap for Trossard because he likes to do that every now and then, but I can't see him dropping Havertz up front. And I think now Partey's in, I presume he'll play every game to the end of the season, I would have thought. So fingers crossed for a fairly comfortable win, but this is Arsenal, and I do think it's going to be 3-2 again. I just think it's going to be that time. End of the season. I think, I've been watching that Reece Nelson with that as an Arabic commentary about 10 times today, and it's just, I've just convinced myself it's going to happen again.
I don't know if my heart can take that again.
I'll be dead, mate. Mark will be presenting my show next week.
And going over to yourself, Mark, obviously with the selection on Saturday, we spoke about Thomas Partey being integrated back into the team. And for me, he has to play these last three games for us to stand a good chance of winning all three, especially the Man United away game. How important do you think he's been in terms of his comeback, but also looking ahead to the next three games?
Yeah, pivotal, absolutely pivotal. I think he brings a level of energy and dynamism to midfield that we haven't really had with him being absent for pretty much the whole season up until 3 weeks ago. I think he's hugely important, and we need him to stay fit for the remaining games. Jorginho has done an excellent job as a stopgap or filler in, but he doesn't have the same attributes that Partey has in terms of strength, progressing the play. He just brings a lot more dynamism to the position than Jorginho can. As you said, I think he's absolutely pivotal to the last three games, and obviously the two he's played recently in the two victories.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose the other thing as well is in terms of the performance of Martin Odegaard in the Chelsea game. I know John said he was quite quiet in the Spurs game, and I totally agree with that. But if we can get that kind of performance out of him Saturday again, I think if Odegaard plays that kind of level, we'll win the game comfortably.
Completely agree. He was absolutely unreal against Chelsea. I think we covered it on your show last week, Brooks. He was just incredible against Chelsea. If we get, as you said, Liam, if we get him back to those sort of levels again for the remaining 3 games, we'd probably be looking at scoring 4 or 5 goals in each of those games. That's just how important he is and the chances he can create as well as score for himself. So if we can get him back to the level he showed against Chelsea, I think we won't have to worry about goal difference because we're going to score heavily if he can get back to those levels.
Yeah, no, fully agreed. I'm going over to you, Jonesy. Kai Havertz, yet again, scored against Tottenham. Got a couple against Chelsea. This was a player that was basically mocked, ridiculed, and obviously was we was basically told what a waste of money he was. But he's coming into his own now, isn't he? And what's your thoughts in terms of obviously moving forward with Kai Havertz? Because the performances that he's showing now would tell me that he doesn't deserve to be kind of dropped from the team. But we're looking for a striker next year. Where does that evolve with Kai Havertz?
I think he's still going to be an important player because there's going to be games, like the Cities and the Liverpools and stuff like that, when you need a focal point up front, and he's the guy that can hold the ball up and play the wingers in and stuff like that. So there's still room for him, for me, to play up front next season if we still bring in, a 20, 25 plus goal scorer. But the boys, to brush off the criticism at the start of the season, even Arsenal fans, so-called Arsenal fans, were slating, why do we need him? Well, where the fuck would we be without him? I say that back to you. But the boy has done brilliantly, and I'm happy for him as well because he come from that fucking orphanage, Chelsea down the road, and he's found his home with us. He's found his home with us with Arsenal, and he looks happy. That's what I like to see. Love to see players
he's feeling the love.
Yeah, he never looked happy at Chelsea, to be fair.
Who does?
Yeah, who does, to be fair. But no, it's great to see him scoring goals, and the team are fully supporting him, and the Instagram posts after "love this guy" from Declan Rice is brilliant to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, he's been such an important figure over the last few months. My personal perspective of it all has been from the very start that I think he's a forward player. But I think the way we'll play next year, I think he'll still, whether there's a number 9 brought into this team, I think Arteta will find a place for him in that team. Because I think we'll revolve again next year, and we with the players that we come in, and with Timber returning, the team will definitely revolve, and we'll definitely play a different style again. So obviously that's going to be really exciting to think about next year. But going over to you, Bess, we need goals, don't we? We've got to score goals to obviously win games, and with these last 3 games coming up, it's we're going to be in a position where we haven't been in before. So it is going to take some really strong, bright minds, isn't it, at tough times, even on Saturday. In terms of the forward line, would you stick with Trossard between now and the end of the season on the left-hand side?
I want to, yes, because I think with the midfield we have, I know there's an old saying which says a good defense wins your titles, but with our experience, I can see a strong midfield will clearly drive the team to hopefully touch wood, to better strong things. I just utilized the Chelsea game. Odegaard had a game that was just magnificent, and then seeing Partey play a full 90 minutes against Spurs, for example, you can see the midfield we have literally can drive this team to many, many bigger things. Hopefully, that means drive us through the hardship of these, XYZ decisions will be against us, which sometimes does happen. For me, I do notice now resilience is much more resolute in the team. Everyone's more calm. Everyone's more reassured. Say you saw on Saturday we make a mistake, they just don't switch off. They pick up themselves, completely confident, assured, move on. Forget about the home team is howling to you. Say when playing away. I'm noticing this new lease of life in the squad, in the fans as well. You can be saying we're leading 3-0. And, for example, on Saturday, you said an example that went by against Tottenham. We're 3-2 to them, and somehow the team did not switch off to the very last minute. For example, I'll tell you example how we're being critical about Martinelli, which we love to be a bit critical for us, saying we're fans. But what I like is he went right to this channel, right by, and he made that little clearance. For me, that showed that clearly he still wants to play for the shirt, to go for every given, ball situation. It made me feel like surely the squad now has that capacity to play for each other, play for the team, play for the fans, play for the badge, play for the coach. It just makes me think this unit of this squad, I've not seen an Arsenal team maybe since the Invincibles, how now we're compact, as Mark says, the dynamic midfield that we bring in the table shows us, the fan base of Arsenal Football Club, that clearly we can achieve better things, meaning keep as we are, make the team stronger going forward, hopefully. Just please keep it going, and let's just keep it, the same mentality, without hurting our current, squad depth, you know what I mean, without talking too much about it right now, because there's a lot to concept,
Yeah. No, it is quite interesting in terms of obviously the way we are playing at the moment, and obviously the collectiveness of the way we play. And I totally agree in terms of party. And I suppose the question that obviously the Colonel asked was obviously, do we think that obviously Jorginho works better in terms of playmaking? I think Jorginho is a very good player, but I think when you see Partey and he's not at full fitness at the moment, but even at 80% fitness, what he's so good at is what he does on the half turn. And if you see on just that moment on Sunday when he literally on his own goal in his own D, he's literally turned and literally he's just sold 2 Spurs players just like that. But I think the other thing what Partey does really well, he gets Saka into the game much quicker.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had a player like that since Santi Cazorla, where that player can turn as quickly as he can, but get players into a position maybe half a second quicker, and you see a totally different kind of player in terms of Saka when he gets the ball that much quicker. And I think for me, Partey is the big key for that. Now, how we replace him, I don't know at the moment, because I think the way we're going to replace him, we're either going to put all our eggs in a basket and play Declan at number 6, if we're looking at a player like Bruno, for example, which if the rumours are true, but for me, I think Partey is a very challenging conversation, and I know me and Jonesy have had many challenging conversations about it, saying that we think he should go, but then when you see these kind of performances that he can do, and I'm going to go over to George on it anyway. When you see these performances Thomas Partey can do, you start questioning how are we going to replace him?
Yeah. It's really frustrating for me because I think we've had the same conversations. Like, he's brilliant when he plays like this, but let's have it right. We've both so like I think Jonesy said, if we had him a few games ago, we'd probably be running away with the league. So in one way, for me, he's still a liability because he's never fully fit. But then it's that poison chalice question, because you see the games that he can put together when he is kind of fit, and you're like, he's one of the best defensive midfield in his position, probably in the world. So it's a hard how they replace him. I still think they're going to go out and buy a proper number 6 and be that number 8. Who they get, I don't know. He seems to like Douglas Luiz a lot, so that'll cost a lot of money for someone like that. And I've just gone to the Martinelli thing. Like, I've been really critical of him this season, but I was thinking about it the other week. He ain't had really much consistency on that left side behind him, because one minute we've had Zinchenko. I don't want to see that again. And then that changed, and then it's gone to Tomiyasu. So I don't know, maybe that's what's affected Martinelli as well. But I do agree with you, Liam, when you say Partey brings the best out in Saka. It's a hard conversation, to be fair.
Well, does Partey potentially bring the best out of players like Martinelli as well? Was that the reason why Xhaka could play the role he did, that then supported Martinelli? Because I'm very much on the belief that Declan Rice can match basically what Xhaka done on that left hand side anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's what I'd like to actually see. and I know you don't really like to change your team, but I'd like to see Martin play on Saturday instead of Trossard. And I like Trossard just to see if playing with Partey, because let's be honest, the only thing that's changed there is Xhaka. When Martinelli's playing, so it is a hard one, mate. Like with Partey, but I think you have to look at the bigger picture as well. And like, are we happy having Thomas Partey for a handful of games in a season, or do we want someone who potentially could be there for most of the season?
Yeah, well, I think there's the other question, isn't there, as well? And I'm going to go back over to you, John, on this one. There was a lot of talk this week that Jorginho potentially maybe staying at the club, and obviously signing a new contract. What's your thoughts on that first and foremost? And if that does happen, do you see them releasing Thomas Partey? Sorry, mate, you there?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, man. It went a bit. Yeah. So they talk of Jorginho, right? And they got excited.
Yeah, sorry, I just said obviously there's a lot of talk this week that Jorginho will sign a new contract. With that, do you think that could potentially see the end of Thomas Partey?
Well, you think obviously we've been linked with other people. Yeah, 3 and 2 don't go, and I reckon if they're signing Jorginho in the new deal, I think it's either a coaching role there or something. Because I know he's very popular. A lot of people have said they can see him as a manager or a coach, and he's very popular. You see him with all the younger players when they score goals. He's always seeing the Arsenal players and shaking their hand and celebrating with them. I think he's a very good person to have around, and I think they've identified that he could be a coach. You know, they've done it with Jack Wilshere and Per Mertesacker, so he could. You know, it makes sense to keep him on the books if that's what they're looking to do. But yes, I mean, I think as George said with Thomas Partey, we just can't get a full season out of him, and the amount of money they're paid, and yeah, I think they're looking at that, and yeah, if they can sell him for the right price, and I'm sure they've got. I mean, I know you said Douglas Luiz, and I've just seen a picture of him just now doing some crazy handball in his game, by the way. So I'm not too keen on him. Yeah, they're losing, by the way. You know Emery.
Really?
Losing home to Olympiacos, yeah, 3-2. Yeah.
Oh,
They just
Yeah,
Olympiacos.
What again?
No, that's what.
Yeah, that was that handball. Yeah, they scored a hat trick for him. But yes, I think he may well go Thomas Partey, but we shall see. You never know. Stranger things have happened.
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go back over to you, G. In terms of the last 3 games, then we look at Manchester United and Everton as obviously penultimate game of the season and the last game of the season. Are you confident we can get 9 points out of 9 and keep the pressure on Manchester City all the way to the last game of the season?
Yeah. Yes. Come on. Let's. Like I was even thinking.
Anything else is the wrong answer.
Yeah, like the last we can't start being negative now. Like let's just keep our momentum going and our belief going in it, because you know we're still well in this, and anything can happen, as we've seen so far this season. I think obviously this Saturday's game isn't going to be it might not be as easy as we like last season, or it might be like some of the games we haven't been expecting and results. Possibly it could go either way for me, I think, at this point. United away, we don't... Obviously, we know what United are like, but they do sort of turn up for games against us, don't they? Like, the history of it is there. We haven't really had great results over the last couple of years there either.
Our record is shocking up there.
Yeah, so I don't think that's an easy game at all. I think that's going to be something like last week. To be fair, I think they're going to... They will turn up, I think. I hope not. But I don't think that's going to be as easy. But, yeah, and then as we looked at Everton, and they're pretty much safe now, I think.
Yeah, they are safe.
Yeah, so they're not really battling to get for safety. They're just here and there, aren't they? And I know they have had some good results recently. But I think that's a job that we should be doing if you want to win the title anyway. And, yeah, just going back to... I don't know who said it earlier I think it was Brooksy about the goal difference. That was a bit disappointing to see that gap coming smaller again, isn't it? But, you know, as long as we just got to keep going. There's 3 games left and, you know, give it absolutely everything they have. yeah, that's all I can really say on it. To be fair, I just want it to be Saturday already.
Yeah. Oh, it's 4-2 Olympiacos now. That's an absolute rock ride of a game at Philip Clark.
Guys.
Oh, Unai Emery bottling it again, is he?
Yeah. What's about
There's a lot of people spouting their noise off, weren't they, Jonesy, around Arteta and Unai Emery this season?
Yeah, there was indeed. Yeah, hey, Olympiacos, always like them.
Yeah.
We've seen them enough times.
Yeah, we've seen
They
them
with our lives, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like Ian's obviously. I'm going to go back over to you, Jones. Ian's obviously come out and said, like, obviously, not that we should care about Spurs fixtures, but United are only 6 points in it now. I'll be totally honest here. I think if we go, in my personal opinion, if we go to the Old Trafford with the right mindset and go for the kill, I shouldn't say this. I think we could have the game done by half time. Looking at the state of them at the moment.
Oh God!
No, I really do. Like, I really don't see how they can change their mindset. We're talking about a team here, right? For a 3-0 lead at Coventry, and this be frankly honest, Coventry got robbed, basically robbed with that.
They should have lost to Burnley as well.
Yes, they drew against Burnley. They conceded 2 goals at home against Sheffield United. They should have been at least 4-0 down at home to Liverpool in that game they finally drew to all. This is a team that's conceding over 20 odd shots a game.
Like this week when it comes out, all the squad are for sale, bar 3. I'm sure that doesn't exactly build harmony in the dressing room either. Every one of them looking over their shoulder, you trying to get rid of me.
It's the best ever time I play them, let's be honest.
Yeah, I just think we go in there. I honestly believe, right, that might be the game that, do you know what I mean? Kind of could be I don't want to say the East game because we are going to Old Trafford, but I think if we play it right, I think we could have the game done at half time. I don't think it'd be like your normal Old Trafford game. What's your thoughts, Jonesy? Or am I getting too smuggled in it all?
No, I agree. I'm looking to avenge the 8-2, mate. You know what? and that's a perfect game. We can do it. But yeah, they're bad. If there's any team that have proper bad, it's Man United. I mean, Rashford don't want to be there. The manager's living in a dream world. He blames every result on Arsenal back in that game in September. He can't get over that fact that he should have been on the side, Garnacho. But, you know, we should beat them. If that's the easiest game out the 3, well, obviously Everton might be a dead rubber at home. But, yeah, I'm more worried about Bournemouth than Man United, to be fair. Like you say, by half-time, we could be comfortably out. It could be just like the Spurs game, comfortably out, but not a repeat of the second half, please, because obviously, my doctor wants words.
No, thank you.
It makes you think, don't it? It makes you think, don't it, Bess? And kind of what Jones is saying there, but like we was 3-0 up against Spurs, and I didn't think that we was playing well whatsoever to our standards. Like we go to Old Trafford and play anywhere 50% above that. I don't think we should be fearing anything.
It's not just fear. It's just like we can go there with a hell high because simply be United right now are not in the same level as us. Simply be people cannot question us by being superior and they're down here. But what I get is the manager, as you guys I'll echo, say, how does the manager now still blame our game through the season? Is that a curse in his head? It's like, get over yourself. I remember clearly, was it September when we had this black shirt? Was it September 20, remind me again, 22, 23, when we played them as well? Clearly, like, goal by Martin, that should have been a goal. And then they won 3-1. Yet, you know, we talk about it, we move on. Then me, he was scrutinized. Why does Arsenal have grudges about this game continuing? Like, it's funny how other rival teams, when there's something against them from our games, they dwell on it, they talk about it, they feel victimized about it. Nothing wrong with that. There's always nothing wrong with it. When is it us complaining about it? Oh, why Arsenal feel the victims? Oh, why are Arsenal teams, why Arsenal fan base is so victimized? Why Arsenal fans such crybabies? I'm thinking, I'm sorry, but United fans are just the same. Chelsea fans are just the same. I mean, I can go on all night about this. Surely, I do see it now. You know, being almost a 23 years of Arsenal fan, I'm thinking surely we've suffered as well. For the life of me, I feel the same to these fan bases. Get a grip. When you get victimized, we should not feel sorry for them. When is Arsenal, when we felt victimized for all those years gone by, you know? I was watching a quick highlight, and I don't want to keep this too long. It was the Sunderland game in, I think, 05, the last game was it Sunderland? 3-0, we won in that place. And this
Have a
players
Diaby.
Sunderland just go wah into Diaby, and he's there smirking. Oh, there you go.
Disgusting.
I just get a yellow card. Sorry, I can continue.
Yeah.
He just heard me. You know, he's the guy. The guy got well murdered. He's like, oh, it's fine. It's a dead game. Let me just clatter into Diaby. Let's just end his career. And then when we feel victimized, it's bad. If it's them, totally fine. It's really. I don't know. It hurt for both. It feels like, yeah, grip, because we're tougher. You know, we're better than you. Get a bloody grip. You know, come on.
It's funny how though we used to get the shit kicked out of us. People had terrible injuries. Yet Ben White touches a goalkeeper, and all of a sudden he's a cheat and the worst thing in the world. He even got compared to the hand of God, for God's sake. It's
That was
incredible.
nothing. It's beautiful. That was barely nothing. He's just playing mind games. I mean, come on.
Funny.
I tell you what I think, and I honestly believe this. I still believe, right, that 90% of the Premier League fan base wants Man City to win his title, which I find absolutely incredible. I really do find it incredible. Like, we're talking about a team, right, that's literally bullied their way to the top. They've literally paid their way to the top. They're sitting on 115 charges. But you've got every single fan base coming out saying, I really hope Arsenal don't win the league. I really hope Man City win it. And you just sit there and you just think, like this has been the part of the problem that we've had over the last 15, 20 years. It's, in terms of everything that we do, it gets scrutinised down to the nitty-gritty. We start scoring goals from set pieces. Apparently, we're boring. Do you know what I mean? It's like no one ever identified or scrutinised set pieces before. We scored 14 of them, or 16 of them now, and it's getting scrutinised on the box, like, in terms of potentially how to stop us. You look at the seasons gone by when we're absolutely awful, like the club's absolutely mocked to the core. And you look at Chelsea, you sit there and think they spent £1 billion. No one says a word. Absolutely no one says a word about Chelsea spending £1 billion and literally not being scrutinised whatsoever. And I think until we win this trophy, until we do win this trophy, we're going to continue. Obviously, to the point, if we don't win the title and we win all our games and Man City win all the games, you're going to hear all summer around we bottled it again. You're honestly going to hear all summer how we bottled it again, and it won't be about Manchester City being able to manipulate the league and basically put themselves in a position where, if we're being totally honest with you, they're head and shoulders above everyone else. Potentially not just in England, the world. Do you know what I mean? The only team that's probably competed against them is Real Madrid. But this is the thing with us, and we're going to have to. We will get over that fence, and we will get over that final furlong. And if we don't do it this year, I'm more than sure that we're going to do it next year, because I just look at this club. I look at where we are at the moment. I look at the players that we've got in the club, and their age profile, and what we're going to bring the club in the summer. And you think this season was good? Next season will be 10 times better. Do you know what I mean? And the difference between Arsenal and Man United at the moment is Arsenal on the climb. Sorry, Arsenal, Man City. Arsenal on the climb. For me, Man City ain't climbing anymore. They've reached the pinnacle. They've reached the pinnacle. They used to hit over 100 points. If you watch their points, they're dropping down. Like, what's the most their points can win this year? 90?
91, yeah. 91.
I think we beat that next year. I think we beat 90 points next year. If we go out and buy another centre midfielder, go and buy a striker, and potentially maybe buy another winger, I reckon we hit at least between 90 to 95 points next year.
Look, we could have easily done just. There's 8 points this year that I think are unforgivable is the wrong word, but the 5 points dropped against Fulham and the home loss to West Ham. There's another 8 points that should go. We really should have them, you know. Yeah. Obviously, they're
not to mention the draw against Spurs at home.
Yeah. Like, now look, don't get me wrong, City, I'm sure, look at all the points they've dropped and go, we should have won this, should have won this, should have won that. But there is definitely 8 points there that I would say they're slip-ups and big slip-ups. But look, we could still win the league and no one will care about those 8 points come 3 weeks' time or whatever it is.
And that's probably the painful part, isn't it? Like, do you know what, right? We lost against Aston Villa, but do you know, we didn't do enough in the second half in the game. But when I look at I've always looked back to the Fulham game at home. The Tottenham game, I don't even look back to at home. I just think we lost our centre midfield at the start of the second half, and it went a bit Pete-tong, didn't it? And we didn't get the grasp of the game. But I look at the Fulham game, and it will chew me up a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. If we miss out on that title by a point, for me, I will look back at the 2 Fulham games. The West Ham game at home, it was a freak. We hit 30 shots. We just couldn't score. It was a freak. But the Fulham games, for me, were the chokers. That we was 2-1 up against 10 men. Should have seen it out comfortably. And then we went and pulled out that horror performance at Fulham just for the New Year. And I think that they're the 2 games that I will look at the end of the season if we don't win it. But do you know what? I'm sure Mikel Arteta will as well. And as I said, we're only going to get better. We're only going to strengthen the team. And we're only going to be a much better team and club for it next year. Going over to you, George, what's your kind of thoughts on all that in terms of where we finish the end of the season, go into the next season?
Yeah, kind of agree with what you were saying. The Villa games that we lost, I'm not really as obviously I'm bothered that we lost them, but not. It's more the Fulham games that hurt me a little bit with that. And then don't get me started on the Newcastle away one, but because we should get something out of that. I think if we don't do it this season, even though I think we're still going to be doing it at Man United away, I'm still positive. I definitely think next season, but then I think we'll go further in the Champions League as well. So I think the difference is that there's been games made earlier in the season when we weren't really scoring. If we had that kind of clinical 20, 25 goal season goal scorer, or it takes that one chance. And I agreed with this and I disagreed with it with what someone was saying on the radio the other day. They were saying the difference between team title and not winning title is if you have someone like a striker level like Haaland, and I don't mean like this season because he ain't been as good, but in some games all he needs is one chance. Does Arsenal have a striker like that? I don't think so. Havertz is brilliant, but I think me and you were saying the other day, we need to see what he's going to do at the Euros in the summer if he leads the line for Germany. But I think they'll improve and bring players in and get rid of the players that don't. And then there's not really no weak parts in that squad. And I don't think we've had a squad this good. And it's right there, mate. Timber is probably our biggest loss this season. And I think you look back at it, but we'll just win the quadruple next season. Why not?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree with you in terms of pretty much kind of everything. Like with the striker situation, I think we're in a unique situation with a striker that obviously we have kind of, I wouldn't say fallen, but we've kind of, I don't think it's been the problem, has it, over the last probably 3 months. I think my big issue is that we took Kai Havertz out of there against Aston Villa. And I think that was the detrimental effect, if I'm being totally honest, in terms of the way we performed that day. But when you look at next year, I just think that if we get another set, I've always thought we'll get a forward and we'll look for the right forward. Whoever that is, I don't know. But I just think if we can get that centre midfielder in there beside Rice and Odegaard, these are 2 players, isn't they, Jonesy? These are 2 players, Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, that are literally on the top of their game. And they're only like in their early to mid 20s. We're talking about another 5-6 years of these 2 guys at their peak, and these 2 guys deserve that player now to say, do you know what, we're going to hit the next 5 years all together as a midfield 3.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Exactly right. We've got them for years to come, and they're only going to get better. As long as that squad grows and it grows around them. Them 2 will just become, elite levels. Future England captain, maybe. Norway captain. For Odegaard, they could be pivotal to. And whoever we bring in has got to complement them. Sorry, it's got to sit there, and allow them to do their thing. And that's what we crave. We've got it. Don't get me wrong, we've got it with Partey, but he's just unreliable. And you know what? I would keep Partey, let his contract run down, just keep him in the squad, but still bring in someone to have him around. But I wouldn't sell the Partey, to be fair. But yeah, them two, my God, what a time to be alive. At night, I go to bed very happy man at nights knowing them two boys are in my midfield.
Yeah. Completely agree.
We'll leave that. We'll leave that one there. We'll leave that
go
one
on,
there.
yeah, I'm not saying nothing.
And then just looking ahead to the Man City game, we're going to go to you, Mark, first on this. Obviously, their 4 games now are Wolves at home on Saturday. Now, we've got to remember Wolves did beat Man City early on in the season. Maybe perhaps, obviously, they've got a bit of a weakened team this time around. They then travelled to Fulham away. Then they got the Spurs one on the Tuesday before the last game of the season and home to West Ham. It's quite interested in terms of Antonio's comments today, saying that if it goes down to the last game of the season, Arsenal are going to win the league. Now, I think I dropped it in the group, didn't I, sometime this week? And I reckon Declan's going to be asking for some favour. Declan would definitely be on that phone to tip players like Antonio on last week of the season in their ears. Where do you see the potential City slip-ups, if there is any?
Fulham and possibly West Ham. Having watched Spurs this evening and last Sunday, I had no hope for them doing anything. They look to me like Spurs are in a completely false position because they got off to such a good start to the season. Their actual real form is pathetic over the last, since October, basically, they've been really, really poor. So I wouldn't hold out any hope for Spurs taking that off them. Fulham might, and West Ham last game of the season. Funny things can happen on the last day of the season. So there'll be the two that I think possibly something could happen. Don't see them dropping any points to Wolves this weekend. I think Wolves are still short a couple of bodies. And City don't drop many points at home. So, but yeah, I think they will Fulham away and possibly the last game of the season against West Ham. Obviously, I'd like something to happen before the last game of the season because then we'd have it all in our own hands playing Everton at the Emirates that day. But wherever it happens, we have to just be there to take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to say good evening to Mr. Tom. I can say good evening to Stefan as well. Ooh. Last game of the championship season on Saturday, and Ipswich look like they're going to obviously do it, don't they? Which would be a great achievement for the club. 2 promotions in a row.
Back to back,
To say 12:30 as well is a very tense Saturday for me and G, actually, with obviously Arsenal and Plymouth Argyle playing at the same time, both needing to win.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's a very big day for Plymouth, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, why you've said that, John? In terms of those 4 games, where do you see the potential bananas? Because there's got to be a slip up in there. We're going to win the league.
City are losing the Wolves. That's it. The Wolves are going to beat them 2-1. You heard it here first. Yeah, go on. I had a real feeling that Forrest's going to do something, and Chris Wood let me down. I'll get him. Don't worry. But no, you just never know. I'm glad that Antonio came out because I didn't realise. Obviously, West Ham do have a chance of getting European football. Yeah. That's a good thing. It clutches at straws. But obviously, we'll be on the beach and they're crap. So, we will win. But yeah, West Ham will have something to play for. And all they have to do is just kick Man City will be under so much pressure if they're in pole position by then, because everyone will expect them to win the league. So I don't know. You just don't know. Wolves are a funny side, and they did beat them. You just never know. You never know. If it was a funny game, a Wolves player could be through on goal. Someone takes them out. They're down to 10 men after 10 minutes. You just never know. And plus, you never know what VAR are going to do either. By the way, so if John Brooks, the VAR man's listening, come on, make my name good. Stop ruining it. Do something right. Fingers crossed.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? Honestly, that cracked me up with Colonel a minute ago. I had to make sure it was clean before I put it out there, Colonel. With your Pat Book obsession. But
that was him.
John Brooks is surely refereeing the Arsenal Everton game, last game of the season, is he? Or is he refereeing the Man City West Ham? Man City 1-0 up into injury time, and then he gives a penalty to West Ham and they equalise.
if that happens, I'm definitely going to whatever game he's reffing at. I'm going to get rid of him, and I'll be the ref.
Mate, it's going to be out. It's going to be something out of a WWE show, isn't it?
That's it.
Who's going to come to run down to the referee and give him a slam dunk or something? Tombstone John Brooks, and then he'll give a penalty.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
Definitely, and obviously going over to you, G. Looking at that Spurs result tonight, and looking at obviously the performance on Sunday, especially in the first half. In my opinion, I can't, how badly I'm going to say this. I needed Spurs to kind of still be in the race by the time Man City obviously come round. I think it's pretty much all but over tonight, isn't it? Lost 2-0 to Chelsea. They're travelling up to Anfield next. Do you expect any favours from Tottenham now?
No. And I didn't anyway. Like, I know obviously they're professional footballers and stuff, but they're not gonna purposely throw away a game. Of course they're not, and not in these days. But because the connections aren't there like back in the day with the clubs, are they? But I don't know. Like, I feel like the banana skin, if it comes, won't be one that we're expecting either. Like you would maybe look at their fixtures and go, Spurs away. Notoriously, they struggle at that ground, don't they? That has been a thing for them, but maybe it is the Wolves, or Fulham might turn up once.
Oh, bloody hell. So what a day that could be Saturday.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Wolves and Plymouth will win. Come on, you heard it.
Plymouth stay up, yeah. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Like, it's so exciting. The fact that we're still like 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 games to the end, and it's still not in someone definitely. So no one has 2 hands on that trophy for the first time in what, maybe like 10 years. It just makes it all better, doesn't it? And that's what we love. But yeah, I mean, if we can go to that last game, if we can get something there, and it goes down to the last day, how insane that would be, wouldn't it? And it's nice for because actually Mikel Antonio actually drags us a lot on his podcast. Don't know if you guys have seen it. So him actually saying something nice, kind of weird. He normally likes to chat lots of shit about us. But yeah, I mean, he does. But
dickhead.
You know, they like you say, they've got something to play for. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who does?
Chelsea winning tonight.
The signal
They've
issues
got ahead
in
of
the
West
ground.
Ham.
Sorry, say again, Mark.
If it goes to the last day, they may sort out the signal issues in the ground, so we can actually find out what's going on at City.
Oh God, imagine no one can.
No one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
and just a little slight rumor before I go back to you, John, quickly. Rumor is, G, that you're down in North London Saturday.
Yes, I am. Unfortunately, I am going to have to come up and back the same day.
Oh, are you?
So it's just so the cost of these things from where I am is it's ridiculous, and I'm just not.
Are you driving up to?
Halfway, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully, I should arrive just before over an hour before kickoff, so I might not be able to see anyone beforehand. Just depending, obviously, if I arrive on time. And I will be around a couple hours after the game, but obviously not staying over. But you know, the end of the season's only 3 weeks away, isn't it? So that'll be a right old party across the weekend. So yeah, but I am very excited to see you all. It's been too long.
Well, we're in the title race. If we're still in the title race last coming season, I'll be there. If I'm not, we're not. I'm sadly not there myself.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Obviously, Ryan has asked me to do a special kind of mention in terms of obviously the really sad news that obviously this week. I'm not going to delve into it and discuss it, but I'm going to put it up because obviously there's a lot of requests in terms of obviously around doing some support around this in the 14th minute at the Emirates, which obviously I'm sure everyone within the Arsenal community would like to see. Absolute shocking offence, unfortunately, and obviously rest in peace, Daniel. And yeah, so sad, but hopefully as a club and as a fan base we can do something Saturday. So just putting it obviously out there for awareness. I know it's out on Twitter and that, so hopefully in the 14th minute we can obviously show our appreciation for a life that's been lost way too early.
100%.
Well said.
And on that note, that's pretty much obviously the end of the show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure in terms of obviously being able to do the crossover. So obviously, I just want to thank obviously, firstly, my two co-hosts alongside myself. So thank you very much, G. Hopefully, I will see you on Saturday, and hopefully an Arsenal Plymouth win to go with it.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks as always, and yeah, good to catch up on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And Mr. Brooks himself, I know you're in the Gardner residence in a couple of weeks' time, ain't you? So I'll see you very soon.
Exciting times, yes. See you in the flesh.
Absolutely. But thanks for coming on tonight, mate, and obviously thank you for hosting the first part of the show. And obviously if you haven't seen it already on a Thursday evening, John has his obviously own new show now, which is obviously the Johnny Goon at All Cannon show. It kicks off at 7:30 each Thursday, so please come on, show your encouragement, put your comments in, and listen to his bullshit, basically.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, if we win the league, it'll be a naked special.
Do we get to see the pink suit as well?
If I can fit into it still, then yes.
I thought sadly you might say that. I thought I wasn't gonna say it myself.
I mean, the jacket might fit, but the trousers, I don't know.
Brilliant. Well, no one needs to see underneath anyway. So just get the jacket on.
You never know that. Let's hope I get to wear it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Thanks very much, Bess, for coming on again, mate. Been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on again. It's been wonderful catching up all of you once again.
No worries. And are you doing a show Sunday?
I am, but I think Bray wants me to host again, so I might need some backup, shall we say.
Okay, cool. So, obviously, Bess done his first show on last for Sunday, so congratulations, mate. Good to get you on board. But yeah, if anyone's free on Sunday night and they want to obviously do a deep dive review into terms of the weekend events, hopefully Arsenal won and Man City have lost, and I'm sure everyone will be on, mate.
Yeah, pile on, yeah, definitely. In my pink suit.
The pink suit, yeah, on Sunday night.
Play with him. That's what I said. Play with him, please. Play with him.
Well done, mate. No, well done. Thank you very much, Mark, for coming on, mate. I'm taking you're there Saturday.
I am indeed, yeah.
What's your ETA?
Ooh, it's the early flight. Michael O'Leary made any other option unaffordable, so I'll be in London from around 8:00. So
go on, not playing games, love that.
Yeah,
cool. Well, I'm sure we'll see you in a drinking establishment.
Absolutely.
Good man. And thank you very much, James, for coming on again, mate.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Never a chore. And you around Saturday?
I haven't got a ticket as of yet, but I'm still trying. But hopefully, I might be around afterwards for a drink, maybe or two, if the missus lets me out.
Love that, mate. Colonel saying I'll tune in if you dress in pink and have a flamingo as a mascot.
Yeah, I'll do whatever, mate. I don't care. If we win the league, mate, I'll be all singing or dancing. I'll be doing conga. Yeah, don't encourage me.
Don't dare John into anything because he will deliver.
Get banned. You
can only be banned once, mate. You can only be banned once, can't you?
That's very true.
So, what a week. Obviously, North London derby win. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. But it's a massive week this weekend. Hopefully for an Arsenal win, a Man City defeat, and we'll all be laughing. Good evening and have a good weekend, guys. Night.
No.